Hello everybody and welcome back to this Summer Gang event guide video, in which I show you how to complete the different tiers as fast as possible. I'm going to show you what you need to do to finish them in the first place, and obviously also give you some tips on how to do it faster than the rest of the players. I'm also going to provide you with a few different builds you can use to speed up your progress and tell you the best weapons for every category. But before we start, according to YouTube statistics, only a small percentage of you guys are actually subscribed, so please consider doing so if you find my videos helpful. It's free, you can always change your mind, and it really helps me out. And for now, enjoy the video. So now for the ones who are only interested in the different tiers and the missions to complete them, I'm going over them real quick. So the first ones are pretty easy. You have to win matches and get some kills with the specific weapon types. There's no special outfit you'll have to use or set of equipment that is required to do so, but obviously some are better than others. After half of the prizes though, the event kind of begins to loop and add some extra missions. In this case you have to finish in the top 3 instead of just winning. It's 20 times and later you'll have to do the same thing again. So right here it's win matches again. A long time to do so, I'm not gonna lie. But in the end I think it's kind of worth it since we get a brand new bundle. If you are just interested in one specific prize, you can just go back in the video and play it on like 0.5% speed and read the different things it says, so you can see how hard it's gonna be. But for now I'm just going to go ahead and tell you the different builds you can use to speed up your progress. Now, since this event features multiple different tiers with multiple different things you have to do, instead of just collecting things or how we know it with other events, we obviously have several different good builds to use. How I'm going to handle that in the video is the following. I'm just going to divide this event into 2 different sections and don't even care about the weapons since I'm going to talk about them later. So the first section is actually getting wins, and the second section is getting kills. To make it clearer for you guys, getting wins are basically the ones where you have to get wins in team versus or finish in the top 3 winning teams in team versus. And yeah, basically the killing ones are the ones where you have to just get kills with a specific weapon or have to get double or triple kills with, well, a specific weapon. So what I'm trying to say here, and I probably can't express myself really good here, is whenever you read the word win in your tiers mission, you use the first builds I'm going to show you, and whenever there's no such word as win or winning in the description, I guess, you use the second set of builds I'm going to show you after. Alright, so hopefully that's clear now, and as I said, I'm just going over the different builds and not the weapons yet. So if you want to see the best weapons, just skip ahead, I had some timestamps in there. But obviously the builds are the ones that help you out the most here, since they apply for every single weapon. You can obviously also try to change them around a bit and nerf your enemy's weapons even better than this build, or even buff your own weapon to deal even more damage. But in general, these are the ones you should use. So starting with the ones for winning matches. Alright, so starting with winning matches, the best builds obviously contain a lot of paid items, but I also made sure to include some free-to-play options as well, but in general this is some pay-to-win stuff. Alright, so the most useful items for this one will be the pets or legs, which help you to collect medals off of the ground to prevent your enemy from scoring points for getting their medals, which your drop teammates spawned, and for you also getting more points because you can secure every kill you got. Since dying a lot doesn't really matter if you collect your own medals again, this one is really easy if you have some nice attraction gear and good teammates who can carry you and collect your fallen teammates' points. But you definitely want to stay alive for as long as possible and not give the enemies opportunities to score points. To help with that, obviously nerfing the enemy's weapons is your best bet, and since they are using different weapons for the different tiers, you can't be sure what they're gonna use the next game. So in general, this one is the build you'll get the most out of, since it nerfs pretty much every weapon by a lot. And what I'm talking about is obviously the Celestial Head with its 30% nerf to every weapon. As the body, obviously Medic Jacket for another quick 30% protection against every weapon type. This one's actually free if you manage to almost complete this event. And as for the legs, you use these ones with 25% added protection against every other weapon. Now, as far as the 25% protection against every weapon type goes, there are multiple different legs that do so, but I went with these ones since the 7% agility feels a lot better than some added protection which you don't really need after you already nerf every weapon by 85%. But obviously, before you get your legs to protect you, you want them to score points. So if you don't have the Cloud Pad equipped, you definitely go for the metal attracting legs I just showed in the clips earlier. For the ones who don't own the Medic Jacket already and want to get it through this event, you basically can use this one. It's a 20% nerf to every single weapon, but obviously if you receive a headshot you almost die instantly. This body can be purchased with Zombie Night every single day in the shop. You just go to the zombie section and there it is. Alright, and that pretty much sums up the items I recommend for winning matches in Team Versus. It's pretty much always the same. If you get those missions, they really take a long time, since you have to get 15 or 20 of the wins for each single weapon type, and that multiple times. But don't lose the courage, just power through it, and with those tips you definitely can do it faster than the others. Now, one last thing before we switch to the killing builds. I recommend this mastery tree, since killing is not really required unless you have trash teammates and you have to do all the work yourselves. You go for the Burning Spirit ones to get you some more firepower, and obviously Zombie Bull to stay alive, and Rock Endurance to tank some extra hits if you are in danger. Now, continuing with the builds for killing. This also includes getting double kills or multiple kills in a row, or even dealing damage to enemies for the last one. You basically use stuff that buff your weapon. There's no reason why you should go for some more tanky builds, unless you want to also help the ones who try to get wins in Team Versus. But it really doesn't matter how often you die. You could die every single kill you get, but if you get 30 kills, I would say it's worth it. You don't care for the team score at all, you just go for kills, kills and even more kills for your own. It's pretty selfish, but it's the fastest way to do so. Now, the builds I'm going to show you somewhat are changeable, since you have different weapon types to use for those ones. But if you are, for example, using the assault weapons for getting just simply kills, you basically want to buff the hell out of them. So I recommend using this head for some added damage, and obviously the celestial body for even more damage. And you guessed it, just slap some double damage on there with this pet for good measure, and while you're at it, also use the fucking glass cannon, why not? This is basically the only times you want to use the glass cannon, since otherwise it just isn't that good of a mastery. I promise it's really not that good. But in this case you don't really care for your own lives or the sake of your team. You just plow through your enemies by one-hitting them with the battle ram, for example. Using this build definitely lets you do so, and it's hilarious if you just... well, basically it feels like hacking, I'm not gonna lie. Now, as for the legs, there are some special ones which actually buff damage or fire rate with certain weapons, but in general there are not a lot of them and I think it's not really worth going for them. So just use at least some protection so you can stay alive longer. I also recommend using these ones since 25% protection is the most you can get out of some lags. So yeah, I recommend those. Now for the double or triple kills, you just go ahead and use the bubble gadget. It's pretty simple and it explains itself pretty much. You see multiple enemies, just slap that one on and you just shoot whatever you can see. If you are trying to get some double kills, then you should definitely only get 2 kills, since for some reason it won't count as a double kill if you get 3 kills in a row. Which is weird, but hey, that's how it works. And if you manage to get one and see the point popping up in the top right corner of your screen, then you just get yourself killed or kill yourself. I don't know which weapon you are using currently. But yeah, definitely try to kill yourself, reset it, so you definitely get a point whenever you score another double kill. Okay, so with killing covered now, we are moving along to the weapons. There are different sets of weapons I recommend using. Most of them are going to be what I think the strongest weapons for every category, so you can manage to get the most out of them. I made sure to include different ones, so it's not only the strongest, it's the strongest few. For some reason I thought about carrying 2 or maybe 3 for some weapon classes to help you with your choice. And also to get some other weapons in there for the ones who don't own every single one like I do. So yeah, starting with the pistols, we got the Clovis Cloner, obviously one of the strongest pistols in the game right now. Still pretty old weapon, but still pretty strong. It's really useful whenever you try to get kills across the map, since its range is pretty dope. And there's really not that much damage drop off. And especially if you use the build I just showed earlier, with glass cannon you can pretty much one-shot everybody. It's insanely broken and definitely the best weapon you can use. As my second suggestion, I recommend using the dual spell guns. Most of you probably already use those, so that's not a secret. They are really strong and they can't be nerfed because they are magical fire. So yeah, almost every time a 1 to 2 shot kill with the burning effect added as well. So yeah, pretty solid all-rounder, good in close and medium combat. Yeah, 2 shot for days, and if you use the lucky last bullet, damn, your enemies are in for some pain. Now, moving along with the assault weapon choices, I have a few different ones for them as well. So the first one is the engemmed rifle, pretty much the best all-rounder weapon I can think of. It's a normal type weapon, pretty nice range, very high damage, especially if you combine it with the build I showed earlier. And yeah, it's basically like the battle ram, just with a bit faster fire rate. Speaking of the battle ram, there it is, the second weapon in my list for the best ones to actually use. This one has really high damage output with the potential to one-hit your enemies if you combine it with glass cannon and some other buffs I just showed. It's really insanely strong because there's no damage drop-off, so you can one-shot them across the map. You can also get some lucky headshots here and there, so if you hit one, they are dead instantly, without even knowing what hit them. Its fire rate is pretty high, its reload speed is pretty high. The only thing that kind of nerfs it is the 85% protection gear, since it's only a normal type weapon and you need about 7 shots for the ones with higher nerfs against this weapon. So it really only succeeds against not that strong enemies. And as for the third option, this is obviously the free-to-play one, the assault rifle Do MK2, to deal with those pesky 85% nerfers and really damage them down every single time you see them. Also, since this video is about to get pretty long, it's actually pretty long already, For the ones who stayed around this long, well, thank you first of all, and now go ahead and comment that I used the same 2 clips for the whole video if you didn't notice already. And yeah, make me go out of my way and make sure I'll have to delete that to, well, hide it from the guys who didn't watch all the way till here. So yeah, love you guys, and we're continuing with the shotguns. So it pains me to actually show you this, but here's my arch nemesis once again, the explosive shotgun. This one is just like post-heavy skull, but in shotgun version. I pretty much hate this weapon, but I have to feature it every single time since it's the most overpowered shotgun in the game. Just be careful whenever whipping this thing out, since it somehow triggers most of the players and they will either just focus you or try to nerf you by 100%, which is definitely still possible even though it's not even an explosive weapon anymore. So yeah, if you for some reason can't deal damage to everyone in the lobby, then you should definitely consider switching to this one. Moving from my most hated one to the most loved one, I'm not gonna say the name, shotgun. It's pretty much one of the best shotguns out there. It can, in close range, one-hit the 85% nerfers, which is huge. Especially if you use glass cannon, this one becomes a beast. It's a true shotgun, so nothing across the whole map bullshit. It's just pretty solid, and it also has some nice active skill in which you can BM your team or even your enemies if you kill them. And now to wrap it up, the best 2 launchers, which are in my opinion, first one, the rocket guitar case. Insanely overpowered. I just noticed this after I finished the event. I used the javelin gun, which is pretty rare anyway, so not a lot of you will have it. It's a good option, I mean the javelin gun right now, but well, the rocket guitar case is actually a lot better, and it pains me to notice that after I already completed it. This one, as you probably also noticed, has the Mexican weapon tag, so we can buff it by 50%, and if we use glass cannon and combine it with some other legs which also buff launchers, well, this thing just one-shots basically. And it fires so quickly, your enemies don't even know what's happening. And finally, for the last weapon I'm going to show you, it's gonna be the Energy Stinger. Really high damage, it can also one-hit your enemies, especially if you use glass cannon, but be careful that you not kill yourself since the explosive range is pretty large on this one. Fire rate is quick, but the movement speed is really slow. It's kind of painful to play, but on the other hand, it's one of the strongest weapons in the game, if you talk about launchers that is. And yeah, it will pretty much carry you through this if you own it. Whew, and finally, that concludes this 20-minute event guide video. I hope it helped you, I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, definitely leave a like, since this took a lot of time to do. Also, that's probably why it's a bit later than usual. I just had a lot of work in real life, and also this one took some time as well. I really try to make sure to give you the best builds you can possibly get, and also tell you the best strategies you should be able to use. So some future plans now for this week also. I'm going to be reviewing the bundle I used during this event guide in German as well as English. So you can definitely try to stick around for that. It will be released later this week, and until then, we'll see us soon. Bye bye.